Hi, I'm Tom Mitchell.
I'm Tyler Davis.
We're part of the Stearns Davis Community Garden. We're here at the garden today to show you a video on how to put together drip irrigation.
The automatic drip irrigation is a great asset of the garden here. A very well-drained sandy soil, which means it can tend to dry out in a drought without a rainstorm. So all of the plots are plumbed for automatic drip irrigation off of the main well. It turns on either once or twice a day based on a timer schedule.
Okay, this is the tap that everybody will use. These will be set up for each plot, and you have a little on-off valve that will allow you to control the water coming in. The main line is going to be pressurized, and it's on a timer so that you'll have water at certain predetermined times per day. We're going to show you how to connect to this with drip lines. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to connect to our source of water, okay? And you need, we're going to come off here at an elbow. You could come off with a T also. This is an elbow. It's already put it into this tubing over here, okay? So I'm going to just take a piece of tubing and connect from here to here. And we don't need very much tubing to do that. So I'm just going to cut off a piece here. Fasten it onto the source. It fits right over, and then connect onto we call this the manifold. This is where our water is going to service all of our different parts of the garden. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to put this T in here. Okay, now depending on what your needs are, you can decide where you want this T. Okay, you can tee it any place you decide. And if we wanted it, let's say, at this junction right here, we would cut the line. Okay, these can be clamped also if they start to get loose, and we insert the barb. The tighter you can get it on there, the better off. So this is our next section over here. I'll put that in. Again, these can be clamped if we needed to clamp them, but they're pretty tight. The next thing we're going to put on is the connection to our drip line. Okay, now this is a threaded fitting, and it's best to put some plumber's tape around that 3 times around to get a nice tight fit. Although this is a drip line, and if it drips a little bit, it's really not too much of an issue, but most of the time it doesn't drip right here. And that can be tightened up. And you want the valve. This has a valve on it that you can close it off if you decide I don't want any more water on that particular row of plants. Then you can just shut it off or turn it on. The next thing we're going to be doing is putting on this material here. This is called the drip tape. Okay. Now the drip tape has 2 sides. It's a flat drip tape, and you probably can't see the emitters in there, but it's on the side with the seam. There's a seam right here. The other side does not have a seam. The seam should always be up. That keeps it from getting clogged. And you should cut this as square as you possibly can. Fit it on here. This is a compression fitting, and it fits right onto there. And then tighten that down, and that's pretty tight. Now you bring this out as long as you want to whatever you need to go to be able to satisfy your plant's needs. Now, if you're worried about it blowing around or being disturbed, you can take it and put a staple on it. You can also staple this so somebody doesn't come along and bump it and move it, okay? So you can put as many of these as you want. You can run them all the way out to the end of your plot. Now, I'm going to cut this off real short here just to show you how to finish the end, okay? So this is the end. Let's say this is the end of our row, okay? And we want to close this off because water will just run out of there. So what we do is we take a piece of scrap, okay, like this, okay? We fold the end just a little bit, okay? And then, so it's a little narrower than it is, and then we fold it over like this, okay? And we take that little scrap piece and we insert it inside that scrap piece, and we effectively close this off. Now it might drip a little bit, but this is drip tape. It's supposed to be dripping and so on. But most of the time these are pretty, it's a simple, cheap way of closing off the end, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. And this tape, I have plenty of it. It's available for free. This will cost you, okay, this is $1.15. This is 75 cents at Home Depot. I bought a bunch of them, so I have them available. This black line is 10 cents a foot at Home Depot. That's all you need to be able to complete your drip irrigation.
Okay, I just wanted to give everybody a close-up view of the fittings. Sometimes it helps to be able to see it. So this is the fitting that runs at the top of your row of drip tape with the shutoff valve and the barb and compression fitting where the tape goes on there. This is the pipe thread that goes in your main fit, half-inch pipe thread that goes into your manifold. So these are the ones that Tom Mitchell will sell you for $1.50 a piece. These are Home Depot fittings from the plumbing aisle, also half-inch. The brand is called Lasco, I guess. So this is a T, it's shaped like a T. This is an elbow, and so you see the barbs on there to press the tubing over, and you see the threaded fitting there to run the drip tape fitting into there. Now, some of you from last year probably have some leftover emitters. These are called spray emitters. They're more commonly used for like perennials and shrubbery and things like that. They tend to throw kind of a spray pattern. They're okay to use, but they're really not preferred. They are wasteful of water, and they do encourage fungal diseases and things on the plants as they stay wet. So it's a less efficient use of water compared to the drip tape. You also see some of these button emitters that were used for the brown Zeraflex tubing. But the drip tape is a more efficient way to get water directly to your plant's roots. Okay, I talked a little bit about the efficiency of the drip tape compared to the spray emitters, which are quite a bit less efficient. So one of the things that your rental fee pays for every year is the electric bill for the well pump for the water well. So we did have some pretty high costs last year, so that's a good motivation to switch to the drip tape and the tape type of emitters versus the spray emitters. Also, when you initially set up your system, take a look around and look at your neighbor's plot and look for any blowouts or leaks and things that need to be tightened, because it will free flow when that tank gets pressurized, and we want to keep that to a minimum if we can.
Okay, so just to review, what you need to have for your plot is an elbow to come off the main line. Okay, you can get these brown elbows if you have them already, or they also sell the gray ones, this color over here at, just an elbow at Home Depot. They're pretty inexpensive. As I say, these are about probably 75 cents. These are another 75 cents. This one I have for $1.20. Okay. We have this material here, and this is free as much as you need. Okay, and if something happens to it, breaks, we can replace it for you. Okay. Now, one other thing you need to know about is, as far as your layout, which Tyler will tell you in a moment, is that each one of these emitters is 1 foot apart, and it makes a circle of 6 inches on each side. So that means it's going to have a circle of 1 foot. So when this is finished emitting, it's going to have a 1 foot circle, and this one's going to have a 1 foot circle. So these circles will actually meet, and you'll have a continuous line of wet earth from that point to that point. And if you're not growing anything over here, then that's fine. If you're growing something like in the middle, it's going to get plenty of water. It's going to get plenty of water. Anywhere near within 6 inches of this tape is going to get water. So okay, so we're showing you how to put in the next barb. Now we're using a 12-inch spacing here, but that doesn't mean it's going to be that for you. Okay, so if we're ready to put in the next one at 12 inches, that means that when we run our tape here, it's going to, and when you put this tape in, make sure that the drippers are up, which is the seam side, and put your compression fitting down, and you run this as long as you need it. I'm going to cut it off real short here, but now this whole system here is going to be wet from here to here from this dripper, and from here to here for this drip tape. So you're going to have like a little bit of double coverage in here if you had them actually this close.
Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about plot layout. So several of the of you who are returning gardeners brought your irrigation equipment back with you because you do own that. So you're free to use the same layout or to change your layout this year. So if we use this piece of paper as a example of the plot, we have the main line running along this edge, and we have the 10-foot dimension here. We have the long 20-foot dimension running down the side there. So as we're coming off, we have the valve that Tom talked about, the manifold. You could either choose to run it like this, as he did, with the drip tape lines running this way, or you would certainly be welcome to run your manifold down the long edge and run your T fittings and your driplet tape lines running across the 10-foot section. That's up to you. The way that you lay out your plot is your personal preference, and you will be keeping your irrigation equipment from one year to the next.